Yo, what is up, all you hockey fans? Welcome to Big Cellys podcast, brought to you in part by Engine Hockey, the proud sponsor of the jerseys for FDNY and NYPD. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the first episode of Big Cellys. I am one of your hosts, Blank. We got Tank and Jersey Matt with us tonight. Got a special episode for you. Got a couple interviews. We're going to jump right into it. So, Matt, Tank, what have you guys been up to?
I'll let you go first, Tank, because you have so much to say right now.
Well, let me tell you what I've been up to. I've been a little over here, a little over there. I've been waxing up this mustache and working on my hockey skills. That's about it, sir.
You're going to need it with some of the comments you made in that interview with John, so.
Ooh. He just texted me. It's on.
It's on. Matt, what's going on with you, buddy?
Man, I've been busy as hell. Hurt my back a few weeks ago at work, and so this is what I've been doing, just hanging out, going to PT, going to rehab. Tank just texted me that he is frozen. So guess what? Episode 1, working out the kinks, everybody. But yeah, that's basically what I've been up to, is just trying to, do rehab on my back and my hip. And, my playing days might be done, but I can still help out other teams, make them look good on the ice. So
yeah, everybody go check out Engine Hockey. Sick jerseys, sick swag for your team. He can hook you up with anything you need, all right? So we're going to jump right into it. Hockey news, hockey updates, what's going on in the hockey world. And honestly, there is only one big thing going on right now. Everyone's talking about it. It's all over everything. And all I got to say is 895. Need I say more? Ovechkin,
95.
Greatest goal scorer of all time. I mean, what a accomplishment. What a mile marker. Just insane. That's it. Every single goal from 1 to 895 has been legendary and, a part of this journey. Matt, what do you think about it? You were actually there for the tying goal with 894. So how was that?
It was surreal. I've been to a lot of big games at Capital One. I've seen a lot of Caps games over the years. I was there when he made his league debut after the lockout, saw goals number 1 and 2. And so just the fact that I went all the way 20 years ago from seeing goals 1 and 2 to the other night when he tied the record. The only time I've ever seen Capital One Arena that loud was during the finals, obviously. And to see the crowd was so insane. So hats off to the Caps fans for really understanding the moment and really trying to be a part of hockey history, because it was just surreal. I couldn't believe that I was there. I've been fortunate to see a lot of cool hockey events in my life. Been to the World Cup, Stanley Cup, multiple Stanley Cup finals. And, it was hard to believe that I was there. It's a once in a lifetime experience, just like for everyone that went to the game in New York. Yeah, I don't know if I can describe it. Yeah, I posted a video of what the scene was like in there, and it was just off the wall.
I believe it. Tank, were you watching the game?
I wasn't watching the game, but I've seen a couple of the highlights on TikTok and whatnot. But I played a couple games of hockey. I thought the record was 1,000. So when I heard we were talking about 895, I was like, damn, this guy's still got a ways to go. But then everyone went crazy when it hit 895. I was
this is also coming from the guy that was up at 7 o'clock this morning because he thought the interview was set for 7 a.m. and not 7 p.m. And when he called us out on it, we had to send the screenshots that said 7 p.m. Pacific.
Yes, Tank, you have some explaining to do with that calling out of our communication skills.
I just thought sometimes my thoughts and stuff, okay?
And now he's frozen again.
Now he's frozen, dude. This is all Tank's fault, man.
It's
but no, I mean, I'll tell you what.
My thoughts just get mixed up,
I was at my mom's house. She lives about an hour and a half from where I live, and we had to be back. Me and Matt had to be back at 5 o'clock, ready to go for Dan Donahue, which we'll get to that interview in a little bit. But I'm like sitting here, and I was like, oh my gosh, if he doesn't break it this, I'm gonna have to get in the car and I'm gonna have to listen to the radio. And honestly, that was something I wanted to see. if I couldn't see it in person, at least see it live on TV. So I was like banging on it. And then, thankfully enough, he scored. And, I got to watch this whole celebration and everything, and got in the car, got to come home and do a cool interview. So, that was it's really cool getting to watch that. I've been watching Ovi since I was a kid. So it was awesome watching every year just improving, getting those goals, and then, getting that record. And especially having Gretzky there, the great one, that was, two legends in a room it's not common. You won't see that a lot. So getting to even see that is that's again, like what Matt said, a once in a lifetime thing. It was awesome experience.
Yeah, going back to that once in a lifetime thing, people going to the Stanley Cup or a big event, you theoretically could do that every year. If I wanted to go see the Stanley Cup one every year, technically I could do it. I might pay a pretty penny, and it might be a pain to get there wherever it is, but theoretically I could see that every year. What we witnessed, and that's kind of that's how I looked at it as well. I was, I don't think we'll see this again in our lifetime. I don't
No,
think anyone will get close to it. The fact that he's been as consistent as he's been for 20 years, you know how hard that is? Even the great one wasn't consistent over 20 years. Towards the end of Gretz's career, he was hanging on by a thread. I mean, and here you have Alex Ovechkin in his 20th season who broke his leg midway through the season while he was on a tear, and now is at this point a few games away from the playoffs, and he's third in the league in scoring.
Yeah, it's insane.
He broke his leg this season.
It's insane, man.
He's not human. The man's not human.
I mean, like we said, and like that goal that he had, it wasn't just a tap in, dude. He put everything. That was a snipe from his office, man.
It was a missile.
It literally,
it was
I
a
could
missile.
tell with that like, we see a lot of one timers from him, but that catch, and like, I heard an interview where they said he's like a video game player. Like, it doesn't matter where you pass it to him. If it's in his little circle, like in those NHL games, he's going to catch it. And when he put everything he had into that goal, and it was watching it over and over again, that thing looked like it came off his stick at 1,000 miles an hour. That was such an awesome goal. And I'm so glad, like, he said he wasn't going to do it on an empty net. I didn't want it to be like a little tap in or chip in, a little, ricochet off his stick. Like, I wanted it to be from his office, man. I don't think we could have asked for a better goal than that.
It was funny when we were there. So in the third period, Dylan Strome ties the game because they were down. The Caps were down. I think they were down 3-2 at the time. And from the angle, though, you almost thought, did Ovi score, because his stick was right there. But due to the angle of the shot from Dylan Strome wasn't even trying to shoot. It bounced off like two or three different players, and it just crossed the line right before Ovi's stick got to it. So a lot of people in the arena actually thought that was the record tying goal. So when they were showing up on the video board and it was very obvious, and then it became obvious that Ovi didn't get the goal, you just heard everybody go, "Oh!"
They thought,
and like the siren was still going off, the crowd was cheering, and then it just got quiet immediately, and it was pretty funny to watch. And they were even showing the bench a little bit, and they were laughing. And Stromer was on Chicklets actually earlier talking about like that. It's probably the most disappointed he's ever been in a goal.
I believe it, man.
Yeah,
he's probably like, "Dang, man,
but
I should have just sold
he
it."
He was all the interviews are saying none of them wanted to shoot that puck when he was on the ice. They were always looking for him.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah. And it's a good thing it's over. These guys can now focus on the playoffs coming up. But man, what a ride. It's kind of sucks that it's over, because it was such a fun ride all season long. It was just such a thing. I can't put myself in their seats. It's got to be very hard to juggle all of it. But I mean, these guys did it great, and they're in first place in the league. So it's not like they're a bottom feeder team. These guys have a chance to win a Stanley Cup this year,
which would be huge. I personally think we were talking about that a little bit. If they do win the Stanley Cup, is he even going to come back next season? I hope he does, but I mean, 100% understand why he, sits out next season if they take that cup, ending on the most goals in NHL history and then ending on a Stanley Cup, man. It doesn't get much better than that. But
He's
got 1 year left
technically
on his contract.
yeah, he's got 1 year left on his contract, and yeah, I mean, I guess if he does go out this season with a cup and caps off this amazing Capital season that it's been, that would be very hard to come back after that.
Yeah.
If they don't come back with the Stanley Cup, he's been in for 20 years. He's come back from the injury. He's got the record. What's really going to stop this guy? How much longer do you guys think he's really got in him?
Well, he's definitely under contract for 1 more season. So, but he always said that he wants to when he's done playing hockey, he wants his final hockey year to be in Moscow, playing for his old hockey club Dynamo.
Yep, for sure. And I mean, last thing about this before we move on is, I mean, what more is there to say about it? Honestly, that trying to think of how to word this.
You'll never see it again. We'll never see this again.
It's surreal.
This was something we waited for all season long. We've been talking about it all season long. The hockey world's been talking about it all season long, and it's done. And it's a record that was thought to be unbreakable and unattainable.
And especially same amount of games against the same team is like insane. Like, 1487 against the Islanders is absolutely like what a moment. And honestly, when Gretzky was giving his little speech and he was making a couple of jokes, man, that was really cool. And it was awesome to watch, and especially just because Gretzky got to be there to watch it. And if you see the footage of him witnessing the goal, he stood up very happy. Obviously he didn't want his record to be broken, but when you got a guy like Alex Ovechkin, just an absolute legend on the ice, and now has his spot in the history books, is pretty cool, man.
Yeah, but even think about from his perspective. I mean, he has become so relevant in the last few years because of this chase. A lot of athletes, they're kind of forgotten about as they move on. There's some that stand the test of time. Wayne Gretzky always will be, and now Alex Ovechkin will always be. But he got, and you could see it in every interview, he got to basically relive his chase when he was chasing down Gordie Howe through Ovi.
Yep. 100%.
And all of it is a big circle. And, I feel like if I was in that situation, I'd feel the exact same way.
100%. Yeah, absolutely, man. Absolutely. But, let's, main reason we got this episode going is, huge game this weekend. FDNY, NYPD, big rival game. What are you guys thinking about it?
Well, I'm always in favor of the fire department. So to see them come out on top for what was this going to be, the seventh year in a row?
Yeah, so the 1 year was a tie, but
this would be the eighth. This would be the eighth undefeated.
We're not going to count the tie. So yeah, I would love to see them come out on top. But hey, if PD comes out on top, props to them. I guess they put in a little extra work than they have.
Yeah, I mean, like that, like John and Dan were saying, it's all, a charity game and stuff like that. So what really matters at the end of the night is like what they do for their charities and what they get to give back to them. So honestly, regardless of the way the game goes, it's all for a good cause. It's, we all love to see it. Yeah, you've been going to the games for a couple of years. So, this, what is this, your seventh game you're going to be attending?
Yeah, I went to all the games starting 2017. I missed 2 of them because of the birth of my kid, and he was basically a year old the year later, so I was just kind of unable to get up there for 2 of those years that they switched over to Nassau. But yeah, man, I started going in 2017. I worked a documentary project with them, so that got me to the opportunity to know a lot of these players on a personal basis. Became very good friends with multiple guys on the team, like Jimmy Hall and Frank Heel, who runs FDNY. And let me tell you, Frank Heel, that's one of the best guys I've ever met in my life. And he's stepping down a little bit right now to take some time off. But that guy ran that guy was the guy, man. And big props to Frank. And I'm looking forward to seeing him this weekend. I'm looking forward to seeing a lot of people. there's so many to name. We've got to know so many other people now throughout this. Lydell Harrigan, which you met down in Florida, and
Yep.
these guys, I've become friends with them. I'm glad to say, and it's really exciting to watch them compete in this type of atmosphere. And to anyone who hasn't watched it or thinks you're just watching a beer league game, buckle up. You have no idea what you're in for, because
It's probably the hardest game, man.
this is probably one of the most difficult games to be a part of, I would imagine. And to me, this is like, the country shut down for USA and Canada in the Four Nations face off, and that was great. And that was a lot of excitement. I feel like every cop and firefighter in the country, and even people who aren't even on the job, should be tuning into this game. This is such a huge amateur rivalry, and you're not going to be disappointed.
No.
It has everything. It's high scoring. The hits are very heavy. The hockey is very high quality. There's a lot of fights, and and these guys pack whatever arena they're in. They played for years at Madison Square Garden, would sell it out every year. Now they're over on the island at UBS, and they're selling that out. And it's a great time. Hopefully people tune in again. It's been on Barstool Sports the last 2 years. This year it's on the Long Island Sports Network. I think you can stream it on YouTube. We'll post links to that in our profile too. But enough out of me. Long and short of it, this definitely goes on the calendar every year.
Oh yeah. So we had the benefit of interviewing two athletes from FDNY and NYPD. We had Dan O'Donohue from NYPD and John Perretta for FDNY. And let me tell you, these interviews were great. Me and Matt got to interview Dan, and then all three of us got to interview John. And we're gonna cut over to our interview with Dan O'Donohue. So enjoy what he's got to say. All right. All right, guys, today we got former Mercyhurst D1 hockey athlete, former Coyotes and Penguins prospect, and current NYPD officer and all-star hockey player, Dan O'Donohue. Dan, thanks for joining us today. How you doing, buddy?
I'm doing great, man. Thank you hyping me up there a little bit.
Oh, of course. We got to, man. We got to. You're the all-star of that team right now, so we got to take care of you, all right?
Appreciate it.
So we just wanted to, get to know you a little bit. So like, what's your hockey story? What's it look like? Where'd you start? That whole growing up with it.
Yeah, sure. So my youth upbringing with hockey is a little different than most. I didn't really start ice hockey until I was 12. So I was all roller hockey growing up from the age of like 4. I didn't stop playing roller hockey even when I started ice and at the age of 12, but started pretty late. Jumped right into AA hockey at 12U, and then from there basically played mostly AA all the way up until my last year of 16U, and that's when I played 1 year AAA. After that year, I went to juniors. Then I was in the USHL. Before you know it, went to college, Mercyhurst for 4 years, and then fortunate enough to sign a pro deal with Arizona coming out of college after my senior year there. So.
That's pretty cool. I mean, especially like I feel like most people they start pretty young with hockey to make it to the level you got to. So that's pretty impressive to starting out, at 12, obviously with the roller hockey background, but starting at 12 and then going to the level you did, that's really impressive. So I'm assuming you were just kind of a natural when you picked it up.
I mean, I credit a lot to roller hockey. That's for sure. Everyone always asks me, what I did growing up. I was play roller hockey, so I feel like a lot of that translated to the ice. And once I kind of got acclimated to ice, it was kind of an easy transition, I guess.
Oh yeah. So your time at Mercyhurst, what was that like? You enjoy that?
No, it was the best 4 years of my life there. I would do it all over again. I wish I could do it all over again. I would give just about anything to do it all over again. So it was my 4 years there were the best years of my life for sure. Was with a great group of guys, and still to this day we're best of friends. Fortunately, we had a wedding last night. My buddy Matt and Celly, who plays on FD, yeah, we were college roommates, and so all the roommates were in town last night, and it was just like just picked up right where we left off. Like didn't even miss a beat. So I credit a lot of my my good times and success to those guys at Mercyhurst. And like I said, just best 4 years of my life for sure.
That's awesome. That's awesome, man. Everyone will always go back to, their time in college, and even pros will always say never rush your college development because they're some of the best 4 years of your life. I mean, obviously that goes for really anybody in any
Yep.
field, so especially hockey players. What are some experiences you had over at Mercyhurst that you kind of stick with you? Is there anything fun, anything that you can pinpoint that kind of led to your hockey development, or just pure, good times playing college hockey?
Yeah, 100%. So I think what worked for me was the fact that when I went to Mercyhurst, they gave me an opportunity to play right away. I was a young freshman. I was the youngest on the team for 3 years. So I went in early. Was with a lot of older guys, but they gave me an opportunity right from the jump, starting on the fourth line. Eventually worked my way up. So I just think the opportunity that was given to me there helped me, kind of grow into the player that I was. And fortunately, I was surrounded by a lot of great players over there, which was, a credit. I credit all my teammates and the coaching staff, for ultimately my success and being able to, continue on to the pro level. Looking back at the memories, though, on the ice, some memorable games. My first game was against Michigan. Not gonna forget that. We beat Cornell when they were number 4 in the country at their barn. Just like memories like that all around. Maine, 5-point night at Maine. That was a good memory. So a lot of good memories on the ice. Unfortunately, we were very successful as a team, but in our conference, you have to win your conference to go to the NCAA tournament for the Atlantic Hockey. So we just came up short a couple times. A couple heartbreakers, double overtime loss my senior year. That was tough, but I think even more so than on the ice, I think off the ice was the best. Those are the memories that you really never forget. Going out with the guys and being around the college campus with the other students and the faculty. And I told my brother, because he played lacrosse at Sacred Heart, when it was over for me, I kind of went to him, was like, listen, enjoy your 4 years. Don't ever miss an opportunity to go out with the boys or whatever, because once it's over, it's over. You're not getting those memories back. So they're few and far between now with the kids and working, 2 jobs. So I don't really get out much anymore. But like I said, last night we were able to kind of reminisce a little bit and, have one last hoorah all together.
That's
Oh, yeah,
awesome.
that's
I think
good to hear.
me and Alex definitely can understand the teammate aspect of that. We travel around sometimes playing tournaments, so that's something definitely we can relate to. But yeah, talk to me a little bit about some of those lessons that you learned, especially when losing overtime in big games and things like that. How did those lessons kind of translate into your hockey career? What did you take away from some of those tougher games, or especially from your senior year as you started transitioning from college into the pros?
Yeah, no, that one still stings today. Just looking back, because you kind of look back and think about all the little things throughout that game that could have easily maybe swayed it the other direction for us. Maybe we get that extra goal, but listen, you're not always going to win. Someone's got to win. Might not always be you,
100%.
right?
100%.
There's got to be a winner, right? So, unfortunately, even though we came up short, I think you look back and you're grateful for the journey with the guys that you were able to, go on that ride with. You kind of obviously wish it ended differently, but very, very thankful for that entire season. My 4 years there, we were a very close knit group. So when it came to an end, it was a heartbreaker, but just I think it just makes us closer to this day. Just knowing how close we were as a group, and it really translated to the ice with us, right? We weren't really the most skilled team, I would say, but we just loved each other off the ice, and I think it translated to on the ice. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, I think, like I said, just going back to, a little adversity, things aren't always going to go your way. So you just got to focus on the next game. And fortunately for me, I was able to get a few extra games in there, on the pro side of things, but, that came to an end ultimately at some point. And now here we are playing in the big Saturday game.
Heck yeah.
That's what we look forward to once a year now.
Oh, yeah.
Let's jump into that now.
Yeah, so you got that, it's coming up, a couple days away. So like, how are you guys feeling? How are you guys preparing? Like, what's going on now?
Yeah, so we actually just got off the ice. We had a little charity game. So played a group of local guys here that, I think they had 8 or 9 Division One guys, one guy who played in the WHL. So we put together a real good team that we played against just now, and we kind of took it to them a little bit. I think the confidence on our side going into this week's game is pretty high. I've been on this team. This is gonna be my fifth game, I think, fifth or sixth. But I've been around the team for like 7 years if you're counting COVID. I think this is the most confident group that we've had going into this game. Obviously we know what FD is. They're a juggernaut. They got top to bottom a very good lineup just to pump their tires a little bit. Very, very good team. But I think if we're playing the way we've kind of played over the last 4 or 5 months here, the room just feels different. Just feels like the boys are kind of coming together, and you know things are kind of starting to turn a little bit our way. I think the confidence is there going in, and if we could kind of roll with what we just put out there today in our charity game, I think we're going to be in pretty good shape. So we'll see.
Is there any big changes since the last couple years compared to this year?
Yeah, so personnel wise, it was funny because I was actually talking we play this charity game every year, and we kind of took it to him a little bit today. And one of the guys was like, "You guys bolster up your lineup a little bit, or what?" I was like, "Honestly, no. We got the same personnel. We added one guy, a very dynamic defenseman, changes kind of how we play a little bit. I think that kind of gave us confidence on the back end to get the pucks out and play a little bit more offensively, and it's just kind of rolling. Our personnel is basically the same. We lost some older guys, so maybe we get some younger guys that are kind of playing a little bit more in different situations, and it's just right now it's working. But we really only picked up one guy, one or two guys. I mean, it's nothing too crazy, But to that point, FD picked up a couple of guys too. So
Yeah,
we'll see. They're deep. So, but it's going to be a good game. It's going to come down to the wire like it always does, typically always does. So hopefully we got that little extra in us this year.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like a big part of, you can have the same team for 5 years, but until you get like some really good team chemistry, playing together a lot, different games. So I feel like,
100%.
me and Matt talking, he was saying that, that chemistry is starting to come together. It's looking really good for you guys. So,
Yep. Hopefully, like I said, we get carried over one more game here.
Yeah, I heard
Yep,
the same. I heard the same thing from Jimmy Hall, Brian Post. He says everybody I've talked to on your side, Charlie, all of them, the confidence is very high with you guys right now. At some point, this whole ship has to turn around. I mean, you guys have gone since 2017, and all the games have been very, very close. I know that there's been times where FD got out front, they got out front fast,
Yeah.
and they
Yep.
kind of started running away with it. But you guys were always there. For instance, the game last year. I thought you guys started off pretty well. For some reason, the bounces weren't going your way. The FD was able to capitalize on a couple of good opportunities. They got out to a 4-0 lead. Normally, a lot of people would say, "Oh, this game's over," but I think I don't think a lot of people really wrote you guys off. I don't. I know I didn't. I was like, "There's no way this is ending like this. They're gonna come out strong." And then obviously you guys did. You came up personally with two big goals.
Oh, yeah.
And I got a good picture of you showing the jersey.
Yeah. I'm repping that engine jersey.
There you
Heck
go,
yeah,
man.
dude.
I
Hell
love
yeah.
that.
Love to hear it.
No, and I was sitting right there. I have a good video of it too. And you guys got back in the game real quickly in that second period. So kind of take me back to last year. Like I was telling Alex a few days ago, in the tunnel before the game, I remember seeing both teams, and FD side obviously was feeling pretty good, confident and cocky and funny, and they're riding high because they've had all those wins in a row, so they should feel good, sure. And you guys kind of had a little bit of a different attitude. It was very intense. It was very serious, which I imagine it would be after so many years of battling with these guys. So kind of tell me, what changed in that second period? How'd you guys get back into the game? And, what do you guys got to do to start wearing these guys down? Because they've clearly start very well. So how do you get back into it when that kind of happens?
Yeah, no, I think it's it shows a lot about our character in our room, right? We don't give up. We're always going to go down, with a fight, right? So even though they got off to a couple quick leads over the last couple of games, right? We dig ourselves a hole, but we do show that character to fight back, right? If we could limit our turnovers, limit our mistakes early on, and if we're able to kind of maybe get the first one, the second one, I think it's going to put them on their heels a little bit, and they're going to be like, all right, now they're playing catch up, right? It kind of changes the whole dynamic of the game. I break down the video after every game, the goals and the goals for and all that, goals against, and I can confidently say that about 90% of their goals that they've scored, we gave them, whether it was a bad dump, bad back check, a bad, turnover by our guy in our zone. So if we can limit our mistakes, I think it's going to benefit us greatly. So that's kind of what I've been preaching all year. Like, listen, like they're a very good team. Everyone, I don't think they're, how do I put this politically correct? I don't think they're as good as we make them out to be sometimes. Like sometimes we hype them up a little too much, and I don't want to, I don't want that to sound bad because they're very good, but we kind of go into that game sometimes thinking it's, they're an NHL club. Like they're just like us. They're first responders playing a hard game. But we're just as talented as they are. So if we could, like I said, limit our mistakes, then we're going to be, I think we'll be successful this year.
I agree. Yeah, 100%. Like watching you guys, the skills there and everything, and like that's what a lot of people that don't watch hockey and stuff don't understand is it's a lot of times it's not even skill versus that. It's if you're just having a bad game, given those bad turnovers, not back checking and stuff, it can go. You can have all the talent in the world, but if you're making those mistakes, it's going to flip real quick. So definitely can see where that's coming from. But so police officer by day, hockey player by night, how is that balancing? How is that like, that change and stuff like that? What being the first responder is not an easy job, nor is being a hockey player. So how do you balance that out? Like, home life, police officer, hockey.
Yeah, that's probably the toughest part, definitely coming into this game, especially like the last month and a half or 2 months, because it's kind of go, 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 to try to find that balance. I'll just give you an example of kind of like what my schedule is like. I'll do doubles at work so I can go to practice. I'll do a midnight shift so I can go to practice. I'll sleep on a couch at work 3 or 4 nights out of the week instead of going home because I got practice and I got to go to work. Then I got to work at midnight because we got a game the next. You know what I mean? So it's our schedule's all over the place. I think Fire has it a little bit easier in that regard. They're able to. They work way less than we do, and they do a little bit less than we do. So, but
I like
but
it.
we're you got to find that balance, and credit to our families for kind of supporting us through this time, because there's some days, there's 2-3 days in a row where I'll go with I won't even see my kids, right, just through FaceTime and stuff. So it's definitely hard. It takes its toll, but guys got side businesses, so we're all over the place. I do hockey training on the side, so I'm all over. I'm never home. You know what I mean? So credit to my wife, and she's kind of holding it down for like the last couple months. So it's almost over though. You kind of make sacrifices, and this big game it's worth it. And playing that game, it's more about them as well than it is just us, right? Like
100%.
they sacrifice just as much as we do, so it's to get them to come to the game and they get to enjoy it, be around the arena and feel the atmosphere and be a part of it just like we are. It's, I think they appreciate that as well.
You've played in a lot of big games and a lot of big atmospheres, played in a lot of classic college barns. How does this game compare to, games of the past that you played in? You had time in the ECHL, you had time in the NHL.
Yep.
Talk to me about how this game compares to that.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's like nothing other. When you go on the road in crazy environments like Cornell, or we'll say even when I was in the USHL Lincoln, right? It's a couple thousand people, but they're all for one side, right? Like now when you get in this game, it's half PD, half FD. So it's back and forth. It's loud. It's crazy. The crowd's getting into it with each other. My brother told me a couple of years ago, he was almost scrapping with someone in the crowd. You know what I mean? Like it's just like it's nuts. The stadium's wild. And you're standing there in the beginning when they're making the announcements and they're going through everything, and you're just kind of watching the barn fill up. Right? You come out, you're the first team introduced. It's a little less crowded. By the time the introductions are over, that place is to the roof, packed. and you feel the atmosphere. It's definitely electric, and but you feed off of it too. So you just kind of roll with it.
So, like, I mean, like you were saying, the atmosphere and everything, you getting all those fans and stuff. And, like we were talking about, you played in a lot of big games and stuff like that. But, like, with all these sacrifices you're making, like, why is this game specifically so important, to FDNY, NYPD? Why are you guys willing to make all these sacrifices, being away from your family, working those doubles? Like, what makes this game so special that it's that important?
I think it's pride, like the whole department on both sides is watching this game. This is the biggest game that we have. Like, there's other teams, there's football, there's lacrosse, there's basketball, but the department looks at this game as like the big game, right? So you got thousands of police officers, thousands of firefighters. They're all focused on this one hockey game, right? So I think we kind of get that. We understand that. And obviously they've had the last 7 years or whatever it may be, right? To enjoy their success, and they get to go to the firehouse, and everyone knows they're the big dogs, and we go to work, and everyone knows we're struggling, right? So it's no secret as to what's going on. So hopefully we're able to turn the tables and get the win this year, and change the vibe. But it's crazy. The whole city is around this game. It's the hottest ticket in town. We could probably sell out Citi Field, no problem. You know what I mean? So to get 17,000 people, 16,000 people in UBS Arena, whatever it holds, it's easy. You know what I mean? Like, you can't get a ticket. Like, people are calling me, yo, I need this, I need 5, I need 6. I'm like, bro, I don't got it. We don't got it. We're out. So it's kind of the game that everyone wants to be at, which makes it special. It is always special.
Yeah, I mean,
it's
huge.
I can attest to that. I've been coming to this game since 2017. Very periodically been working with both clubs, and I can tell you, there's nothing like it. I've been to the Stanley Cup Finals twice for 2 clinchers. Been to the World Cup. Been to the Minnesota State Championship a few weeks ago, that was insane.
I saw that. Crazy.
I went to Ovi's game where he tied the record a couple nights ago, and that, as crazy as that was. And I can honestly tell you, this game is up there with some of the best hockey that I've gotten to see. I come every year, regardless if I'm working or partnering or sponsoring or any type of, even if it's not a business relationship. This is unlike anything ever, and this is going to actually be Alex's first time coming to the game as well.
Wow. Yeah,
I've watched it every year.
He's in for it, isn't he?
Oh,
you're in for one. It's a special event, 100%. There's no way, no other way to put it. It's amazing. So
I'm excited, man.
But I enjoy playing. I really do love playing, but I wish I was able to experience it as a fan one time. You know what I mean? Because I feel like that would be awesome too. You know what I mean? So,
well, if you want to switch, let me know.
I'll put on a jersey or something.
I mean, my back's kind of hurting right now. I don't know if I can keep up, but I'll try my best.
I got a few years left in me, and then
I'll go let Perretta beat me up for a little bit. Get on camera.
He's soft. He's all Johnny's all talk. He's soft.
Oh, here we go.
I was texting him this morning.
We'll let him know. We'll let him know.
It's all love. You know what's funny though is, like, this game is super hyped up. We're very competitive, but at the end of the day, like, even before the game or after the game, we all love each other at the end of the day. So they're good guys over there. They really are. I respect what they do day to day. Like I said, they don't work as much as we do or do nearly as much as we do, but I still respect their line of work. So
that's good. I mean, that's always awesome. That's definitely the respect aspect you can see, especially when the handshakes start, which is always good. I mean, this game has everything that a hockey fan would want. It's packed, it's loud, the fans are extremely intense. I can't wait for it every year. I always try to find some way to have the littlest bit of involvement in this game, just so I can feed my ego.
Well, you're pretty involved now with the jerseys and everything.
I hope so, man. We're excited about them. I know FD's going with one of their previous year's models. That's okay. We'll be back with them next year.
Okay.
But the PD ones don't look so bad, do they?
They look good.
I'm glad.
We got them a couple days ago. They looked
Yeah.
very sharp, very sharp. So
I'm glad. Yeah, and the fans got theirs too. Hopefully, hopefully they all
yeah,
made
fingers
it in time.
crossed.
But does this game further further prove your love for hockey? Obviously you're kind of getting older in terms of being a hockey player. The years, the body doesn't get better, that's for sure. But does this game and playing for this team, does that just further prove your love for hockey?
Yeah, it's 100%, because you're sacrificing so much to get to this point, right? Family time and sleep you're sacrificing, and traveling on the road and this and that. So you got to love the game in order to do it. And I think this game it's very meaningful for both sides, right? So you're kind of willing to do it and have the families enjoy it just as much as we do. But one guy came to practice a couple weeks ago. This guy Kevin Higgins. So his brother Chris actually used to play in the NHL. So, but
Yeah, I know Kevin.
Kevin's on the job. So he used to play back in the day, and he came to practice and he said something along the lines of enjoy it, because when it's over, you don't ever get the same feeling of being able to play in front of 17,000 people. And he's right. He really is right. You kind of lose sight of that sometimes when you're in the moment. You're just like going through it, but when you take a step back and you realize what you're actually getting to do, it's special. So, not sure how many I have left. Not sure, when the end of the road's going to be, but just each game, try to enjoy it as much as possible.
Yeah, I mean, that's the best way to look at it. Never know when it's going to end, so just enjoy it while you're in it. But we definitely want to hear more about you. But we do have one question specifically for this game. But
Sure.
in your past competition, like what's the competition in this game like? Is it something you've seen before? Is it something different? Like, how you feel about it?
No, this is I think in the past, this game used to be, people used to go to this game to watch all the fights on the ice, right? This game is developed into a skill game now. There's guys on that team, on our team, that played, Division III college hockey, Division I college hockey, pro hockey. So this is legit hockey now. And I remember my first game when I played, my brother was like, "Oh, you're just gonna go around everybody," thinking it was like just a men's league game. I'm like, "No, everyone could play. This is good." I would say it's kind of reminds me more of the college game, because guys it's 100 miles an hour all the time, right? I think that's you get to the pro game, it kind of slows down a little bit, where guys are more skilled and making passes. But this game's definitely more, I would say, typically like a college game, where it's just run and gun. Guys are going 100 miles an hour, trying to put you through the boards, right? So it's definitely a hard-nosed game. You feel it the next couple days. I'm laid up. I'm laid up for 2 or 3 days after, but it's all right. I'm getting older, so.
Is there a small part of you that's just ready to get this game over and kind of take a break for a little bit?
100%. If anyone tells you differently, they're lying. So
Yeah.
I got some good buddies on that side. Obviously I'm very close with the guys on our side, and kind of looking forward to the 13th, where it's just like you get to take a breath and
Chill
relax.
out.
Yeah, because we're going 4 or 5 times a week, like I said, doing crazy works. The work schedule just to get to practice and games, and it's a lot. It's definitely a lot. So.
Yeah, I was curious about that. So you guys are still working your normal shifts, everything like that. There's no like breaks. They take time off and stuff like that.
Yeah, we got like 1 week to just focus on the practices and stuff. But for the most part, it's you're working your tours around your schedule. It's like if we had a game, I would work my hours at work around the game. So I'm able to go to the game. Or if I have practice, I'll work my hours around the practice. But yeah, you still got to show up and kind of do what you got to do for the department. But I enjoy what I do though, so going to work for me isn't too bad. I get to play with drones, so.
Yeah,
Did you always think that you wanted to be a police officer? Had your hockey career, went a different direction? Was being a police officer something you always had in mind?
Yeah, it was always, yeah. So it was 2 things when I was growing up. It was play hockey and be a cop. Those were the only 2 things that I really wanted to do ever. Kind of. My uncle was a cop. A couple of my uncles were cops. My cousin, my grandfather, right? So it's kind of like the family business, I guess. But it's really all I knew. It's really all I wanted to do. Knowing what I know now, I'd probably be a firefighter because they don't do shit. But But other than that, I
That's
mean,
right.
I love that.
But,
Like, I love it's so like if someone from the outside of the fire department and police department heard it, they'd be like, "Oh God, that dude really hates firefighters." But like, I love.
nah.
Oh yeah, the cops will be here in a minute, dude. They're probably eating dinner over there. Like, I love that.
Yeah,
Aggression, but like all love for each other.
yeah. It's all fun. It's all fun. Little
That's
chirps,
great.
but yeah. So it's definitely yeah, it's all good.
Let's talk about your time in the coast for a little bit. You know, that league's been making some headways. They're opening up expansion teams kind of on the West Coast, so they're getting bigger. But you had the opportunity to play in West Virginia. Even I believe Paul Bissonnette was one of your teammates, right?
He not in Wheeling. No, he was my teammate in the American League when I was in Portland.
Gotcha.
Yeah,
Okay.
so that's where we kind of had our time together was Portland, Maine in the
What
American
was he
League.
like as a teammate?
Oh, it's exactly as advertised. Wild, you know what I mean? So I remember we had a bus trip once. Where were we going? Norfolk, Virginia. And he's just standing in the middle of the bus, telling his stories and everyone's hooting and hollering. So he was very funny guy. But
Anything you can tell us on the air?
honestly, no, absolutely not.
Love that.
Yeah.
That's great, man.
Well,
That's
yeah,
great.
let's talk about your minor pro experience. You know, what did that teach you? How was your time in both the coast and the AHL?
Yeah, it's a grind. It's an absolute grind. So physically demanding, but I think more mentally demanding than anything because unlike college where you know where you're going to be for the next 4 years, right? There's no trading, there's no releases. You're signed up there for 4 years. Um, when you get to pro hockey, it's a business. So guys are coming in out of the lineup and getting called up, sent down, traded. So you always got guys. It's kind of like a revolving door in the locker room. You get close with one guy, he gets traded. You know what I mean? So you feel like you're playing good. Someone else comes in. They take your spot. You get sent down. So it's definitely mentally tough for sure. So um, taught me a lot about adversity again, though. Because control what you could control. That was kind of what I tell my kids now that I train is control what you can control. Because some things uh, they're out of your control. There's nothing you could do. So just come to work every day. Smile on your face. Be a good teammate. Be a good guy, and um, let everything kind of fall into place where it may. So that's kind of what I take to work now, or my life now is just be a good guy, be a good teammate at work, and everything, will be just fine.
Yeah, Alex and I were talking before the pod. We're both closet Coyotes fans.
Right on.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
mean those original jerseys were probably some of the most beautiful jerseys the NHL's
Yeah,
probably ever put
Love
out.
them. Love them.
those are the best.
It's always been to me it was always a shame that it was inevitable that they were probably going to lose their team. I know they're going to be having success out in Utah, and I know there's a big push by the NHL and by people, in Arizona to try to get a team back and do it right this time. What was your time like in Arizona, and do you think hockey can still work out there?
I think it could. The problem is the rink was in the middle of nowhere. So it worked. It was a whole complex with the football facility and the NHL, barn right there and beautiful setup. Like it was gorgeous where it was. Don't get me wrong, but the problem is the population was so to get people to go to 41 hockey games there, it's challenging,
Mhm.
right? The football stadium works well because you're only playing how many games? 8, 9 home games. So people will travel to that. To get people to sell out that arena 41 times a year was too tough where it was. Hopefully they do it the right way. I think I would love to see Arizona have a team. One of my favorite places that I've been. I spent a couple months there. Training camp, this and that. A couple, rookie games and all that stuff. But really enjoyed my time there. So I hope they do get a team there. I really do. I think it could thrive if it's in the right situation, under the right ownership, under the right people, the management, right? It's not one thing. It's a collective, abundance of things that need to change. And if they're willing to do it, I think it could be successful. So
Yeah, hopefully Arizona State. I mean, they're doing really good this year. Hope maybe that's a little kick in the butt people need.
yeah, what
Who knows? But
you
I mean,
see
they're
you see
killing
those
it.
guys. Sorry to cut you off, but they're
No,
selling
you're good.
out. they're selling out their games. You know what I mean? So obviously people are going to come to hockey games, right?
100%.
It's in, it's on the college campus or just off the campus, right? So easier for people to get to, right? So hopefully if they, relocate within the Arizona or the Phoenix area and put it in a nice populated area, it's going to be successful.
Yeah,
Oh,
I think ASU is going to be one of those juggernaut teams in a few years. I think they're going to build an incredible program. I mean,
Yep.
people often, would look at something like that and be like, why would you build that type of facility there or try to invest in hockey there? Think if you're, and I try to tell people, imagine you're some kid who grew up in Winnipeg, Manitoba
Yeah.
your whole life,
Yeah.
and
Come to
then
Arizona.
someone from ASU just throws you a brochure
Yeah.
and you know what it's going to be filled with.
Yep.
of what's walking around ASU,
Yep.
and you can come play high level hockey in a fun barn, get taken care of, and have a
Yep.
great quality of life. Who's gonna turn that down? So as soon as if they can keep building their program, that's a Final Four, that's a Frozen Four team.
100% easily. They have the easiest recruiting job in the world, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Like you said, you just come to ASU, number one party school in America. Great barn, new facilities, brand new, state of the art. It's a no-brainer. Sign me up.
Yeah, I mean, my wife's from there, so I go down there quite a bit. And man, I'll tell you what, like, going over there this summer, you didn't see much of it, but we went back and it was during hockey season and it was live. Everything was hockey, 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 which is like, like we were talking about, it's kind of like, we're in the middle of the desert, but like,
Yeah.
people love it. I mean, like I personally like hockey, it has everything and people love to watch it. Even if you are not a fan of hockey and someone's like, hey, you want to go watch somebody fight on the ice? People are gonna be like, yeah, I want to go
absolutely.
watch that. So it's very easy to build up. And like you said, right place, right time, especially how, university's doing. Like, I think it could thrive. I think it could be just as good as any other place. So
I agree.
yeah.
So being from there, I mean, who do you root for usually, Islanders or Rangers?
I grew up a Rangers fan, so if I had to choose one, I would say the Rangers. As I got older and I got invited to some development camps and stuff, I actually got invited to on this development camp after my freshman year of college. So I got to know a lot of the guys there. Who that year was Brock Nelson, Anders Lee, Scotty Mayfield. So you kind of hang out with those guys and take a liking to them and you're shooting the shit with them for a week or so. Now I want them to be successful. You know what I mean? Obviously Brock just got traded, but just kind of being a part of the organization there for like a week or so.
Mm-hmm.
That whole Ranger Islander hatred that I had growing up was kind of out the window, right? So, but now I'll root for the Rangers, but I got a couple buddies still kicking around the league. I'll root for them, and I want them to do well. But at the end of the day, if the Rangers are in the cup, that'd be awesome. I would love to work a parade. That's kind of like my goal is to work a Stanley Cup parade or Yankees if they're able to do it. Some major parade. So maybe it'll be the Rangers. We'll see.
That'd be really cool.
Not this year though. They're terrible this year.
Yeah.
Are they? I don't think they're in the playoffs right now.
Not right now.
I think they're still on the outside looking in.
Yeah. I thought last year.
Big day on the island today, though. Monumental thing happened.
Yep.
This pod is going to come out on Thursday, but today, one of the biggest moments, I guess, in hockey history happened. What's your take on that?
Yeah, it was pretty cool to see. Like I said, we were just at a charity game, right? So, word kind of spreading around that he scored. I'm on my phone looking at Twitter, trying to pull up the video. And typical Ovechkin fashion, right? On the power play, just rips one. And I just thought it was pretty cool, though, that, like, that's an away game, right? And the entire arena erupts, right? I think it just goes to show, like, it's bigger than just, supporting your team, right? Like, people just saw history today. Like, Matthews is on a pretty good pace right now, but to say we'll ever see something like this again, I wouldn't bet on it. I'll tell you that.
No,
This
yeah,
is probably a once in a lifetime thing. So, very, very cool. Very, very cool.
So you also spent some time with the Penguins. How was that? You get we like to talk about, kind of like you got to work with some players, very high, end players and stuff like that. Like, what was like working with them, the organization? How did they help you improve your game?
Yeah, that was crazy time getting traded and stuff, right? Like you're going to a new organization mid-season, so you don't really know anybody going in, but just seeing how that organization was run, you understand why they were so good for so long, right? Top to bottom, they take care of their guys. I got sent to to Wheeling, West Virginia, right? And our team was really good. We ended up losing the finals that year to the All-Americans, but looking back, that was another one. We probably could have won, but just seeing how Pittsburgh ran their organization from the top NHL level all the way down to the coast, like they treated it like it was the NHL, right? First class facility in West Banco, beautiful locker room, right? They kind of gave you everything. The sleeper bus that we had was state of the art, right? So they took care of their guys there, that's for sure. And when I got traded from Arizona, it was a little different organization. You see the differences on how the entire organization was treated, and you could kind of see why Pittsburgh was where they were and why Arizona was where they were.
Is that why the wheels really fell off in Arizona? It's just the organization and the ownership just could not get on the same page.
Yeah, it was just always something, you know what I mean? Just a tug of war match, but above my pay grade, So
Yep, that's all that is.
yeah.
But I mean, like, both organizations, great organizations, honestly, just any time in the NHL is probably an honor and stuff like that. So, like, going back to the NHL side, what was, like, one of your fondest memories of that side?
I think just the training camp, right? Like you kind of going in as a young guy, and Shane Doan, like nicest guy in the world, right? You kind of shooting shit with Keith Yandel, and you seen all these guys, Mike Smith, right? He was big time at the time. But probably my favorite memory was completely off the ice, but I was in the cold tub, hot tub area. There was TVs on, right? So football's playing up, and I'm sitting in the hot tub, and Shane Doan's in the hot tub with me, right? So here I am. I used to, trade for this guy in NHL '97 on my PC, and now I'm talking fantasy football with Shane Doan. So that's probably one of the coolest, memories that I have. But what a legend! Absolute legend.
Crazy. Yeah, man. That sounds like an experience that you never even think of or picture, but you're there, and that moment was probably just one you just kind of sat there and was like, this is crazy, man. Like, what's going on right now?
It's 100%. Yeah.
So I mean, like, you got a lot of those training camps you had, from top coaches, players, and everything like that. So with the NYPD team, do they come to you a lot with some stuff, or like, as the coaches and everything, they kind of take everything and you give like little tips here and there?
Yeah, I try to listen. I don't want to overstep, right? So everyone, especially me I've only been on the team 5-6 years, right? So if they come to me and they ask me questions or whatever, ask for suggestions, I'll give them. But I never really want to go out of my way and overstep and be like, hey, we should be doing things this way. We should do it this way, right? Like, I let the coaches coach, and out of respect to them, I let them do their job. And like, they do come to me sometimes and ask me what I think of certain situations and this and that. So that's kind of the one thing that I do, I guess, appreciate is them kind of. I like to think that I got a lot of decent coaching from college and pro, right? That I could kind of pass off, and but they know what they're doing. They're good guys, and like I said, I'm there to help if they need it.
I got a good one for you here. What are some of the coaching philosophy differences, I guess, if you say, between Chet and Jerry Kassane?
Jerry's he's a legend, right? So he's been on this team since it started, like back in 70, 73 or something crazy. He's been around forever. So Jerry's more of a figurehead, I guess you could say, on the bench. Great guy to have on the bench, really good guy. But Chet does most of the talking, and Charlie does a lot of talking as well. I think they're both high energy guys, and Charlie's a really good motivator, right? So he expects us to work hard, and he wants that effort level to be there every shift, no matter what the score is of the game, right? Sometimes I got to tell him, like, it's all right, man. It's 11-1, right? But I understand what he's trying to do, right? Because when everything that we do leads up to the big game. So he just wants us to play a clean 60-minute hockey game always, and he doesn't want us to kind of get complacent in any way. So that's the one thing I do love about Charlie. He's very, very intense. But Chetty's very energetic himself.
That's pretty cool, man. Having that kind of stuff on the bench, if you have someone that brings you down, that's gonna be it the whole game. But if you have someone like that brings you up, like, that's super important to have. Not even just the players on the ice, but overall the coaching staff and stuff is super important in that aspect. But I mean, sounds like you do a little bit of coaching. We saw you're the director of the rinks. Director.
Yeah,
Okay.
Yeah. So before I became a cop, I was actually the director of hockey at the rinks there
Okay.
in Hop Hog, right? Out where I live in Long Island. I took the cop job, and I still get to the rink as much as I can. So, lady over there who kind of took me in, named Allison Shalanda, she kind of took me in at a tough time in my life, and kind of really, you know, opened up a lot of doors for me, in the coaching. And I didn't realize how much I loved coaching until I, was working with her at the rinks and, kind of running the hockey development program there and the youth program. So I'm still able to do skating lessons and stick and puck skills lessons. And I coach a team for her, like it's a modified travel team. So I wouldn't even say modified travel. Like we play 40 games travel hockey, right? It's still a lot, but some of these kids are playing like 80 something games, which is crazy.
Yeah.
But so yeah, I coach a team for her at the 10U level, and I've been doing it for 5, 6 years now for her, and it's just been every year is something different, new group of kids, and it's been a lot of fun though. So very, very fortunate to be able to do that on the side, and that's kind of like my what's the word I'm looking for? My way to cope with the department job. I go to the rink, and it's like my fun work, I guess you could say.
Yeah, I mean, I one of my favorite quotes from the guys that kind of helped me coming up is, "This job doesn't love you, so find something that you love because it does not love you back like you love it." So,
That's a fact.
I mean, finding something like, for hockey for you that's awesome, man, that, you
Yeah.
had that. And, maybe I'll have to make my way up there and get some, lessons from you or something.
Yeah, come on down.
You
But,
do adult lessons too?
Yeah, I haven't, but I can make an exception too.
Most of those kids would skate circles around me anyway.
Yeah.
So, but we got just a couple more questions, and like honestly, one I've been kind of waiting to ask is, all right, Friday night, Saturday morning, what's the schedule going to look like? How are you going to prepare? Like you're going to eat some chicken parm before the game and stuff like that.
100%. So we kind of made it a thing since my first game. Like I kind of took it back to my routine, I guess, when I was in college or playing pro. It was always chicken parm the night before, chicken pasta, salad, right? So we made it kind of like a ritual thing, I guess, the last 5 years or so, where I'll go to my mom's house, my brothers, my sister, the the kids will be running around. We'll just have like a big chicken parm dinner on Friday night, which is pretty special because, like I said, this game is a lot about us, but at the same time, it's a lot about them too. So we just try to kind of make that a nice family dinner the night before. Saturday, it's a 4 o'clock game, so that kind of throws me off. I'm not a big fan of the 4 o'clock game. I'm always so programmed for the 7 p.m. game, with the nutrition and stuff, when to eat, when not to eat, when to wake up, when to nap. But the 4 o'clock game is going to be, I'll wake up, I'll eat breakfast, try to have a nice big leftover meal that I had from the night before, and get to the rink a couple hours before, and it flies by. If you blink your eye, that whole event's over. So
Yeah.
you try to take it in as much as possible.
So I'm not sure if you were on the team. I'm not sure if the timeline works out here. I showed Blank the video from, I believe it was 2019, the game that ends in a tie. Were you a part of that game?
That was the game before I played. That was the
Okay.
game before, yeah. So I don't know why it ended in a tie. I don't know. Apparently, from what I heard, is I think that was at MSG. There was a Nick game. There was a Nick game coming on after, and the MSG personnel was like, "No, you got to be off the ice at this time. Like we got to turn the rink over to the Knicks game," which I get it. It's a big production for the basketball and stuff, right? So, they kicked him off the ice. So, but the amount of time that they spent arguing as to what they should do, do they do a quick overtime? Do they do a shootout? This, that, but
Well,
can we
they
stay?
they
Can we
did
not stay?
they did the 5 minutes for overtime, and 5-on-5 really, it really happened really quick. I don't think there was even any
Yeah,
whistles, and then like you said, as
it
soon
just
as
was over.
as soon as that was out, the doors are open, and the guys in suits are coming out on the ice telling them to get off.
Yep.
And it was hilarious. I have a video of this, and I'm going to post it, I think the night before the game, and the whole crowd is obviously booing the staff, and the
Yeah,
two
yeah,
teams are both on the ice kind of together,
yeah,
like
yeah,
refusing to leave, and the whole crowd is chanting, "Let them play."
yeah. I
And
remember that.
they're like you said, the amount of time they spent arguing with the garden staff, they could have had a 3-man
Florida has
shootout,
easily,
had
easily.
had
Yep.
had a conclusion to the game and everyone goes home happy. And look, I get it. You know, the Knicks got to go down that night, but an extra 5 minutes definitely wouldn't have hurt anything. And
Yeah.
plus, come on, you just sold out the arena. Like,
Yeah. You're
are you
sending these people home
selling?
with a tie.
Are you selling out? Are you selling out the Knicks? That's hit or miss, probably.
Yeah, 100%. Oh, yeah, exactly. But the TV rights and stuff, I don't know. It's a mess. But yeah, like you said though, that game could have been easily decided by the time, uh, they were done arguing. So, but I don't think that's going to happen again now that we're at UBS. So
No, it seems like they treat you guys pretty well.
they do. They do a really good job. The hospitality that they've shown us over the last couple of years there has been second to none. Very, very amazing. I remember the first year they had Islander jerseys with our name on it as like a gift. So they take care of us, which is awesome.
That's awesome.
Kudos to them. Hats off to them.
Mhm.
Yeah, I mean, Dan, we really appreciate you sitting down with us and talking about this stuff. Matt, you got anything else?
My last question is, what is one of the biggest memories you have of this event, of this rivalry between you guys and FD? What's something that stands out in your mind?
Oh man, other than on the ice stuff, scoring my first goal, that was pretty cool at MSG. Anytime you score in that game, it's electric, right? But I think for me personally, the best memories that I have is kind of after the game. Not so much even during the game, but taking it all in. Having the kids come on the ice, the wife, my parents come on the ice. We take our, a nice family photo, and just seeing the kids after the game. That's kind of, for me, that's really why I play. I think everyone has their own reasons why they play the game. And for them to be able to kind of enjoy the game and watch me go out there and do what I got to do, and hopefully I can make them proud. So that's kind of what I enjoy.
How many are you getting this year?
Oh, put me on the spot. I'll be happy with one. Last year, I feel like I could have had 5, to be honest with you. I hit the
Me
post,
too.
a couple that were just a little out of my reach. So 5 would have been nice. I think 5 gets us that win. So if I can get 5, if I get 5, I'm going to guarantee a victory. But I'll be happy with 1. We'll see what happens. So give me 1, and if I get 0 and we win, I'll be even happier. So
Oh yeah. But I mean, you see the name of the podcast, Big Celly. So you hit one. What's the
I got
Celly
you.
you're going to?
I don't know. Do I break out the jersey Celly again? I gotta find.
Oh,
I
you
gotta
might
find
have
what
to.
corner. Yeah, I gotta find what corner you're in so I can promote the jerseys again or something. But
Heck yeah, man. That was great.
I would really like. I think about this one often is like a nice empty net sealer, just going over the bench and just being with the boys, one big group hug with the boys after sealing the victory. That'd be nice. Or an OT winner where I'm able to, kind of pull the Jack Hughes and throw the stick in the stands. That'd be cool. So we'll see. I'm sure I'll black out. If it's an OT winner, I'll black out. So anything could happen.
Yeah, man, we're looking forward to it. We're really excited for this weekend, and I'm sure you're just as excited to get after it. So,
Yeah. Absolutely.
again, man, thank you for sitting down with us, man. You have no idea how much we appreciate it, and we are really looking forward to this weekend. So,
Yeah.
Thanks, Dan.
Well,
Good luck to you. All right.
Thank you. My pleasure being on. Just hopefully catch up with you guys at the game, and I really hope you guys enjoy the game. You guys and whoever's coming to the game, hopefully they have a really good time. That's what it's all about.
Oh, we
appreciate
definitely
it.
will.
yep.
Awesome.
This episode is brought to you by Engine Hockey. All right, Dan, thank you so much again for sitting down with us and talking to us for a little bit. We really enjoyed that conversation. Personally, everything you said, you sound like you're super ready for this game. We look forward to watching you. You sound like you've been putting it all in for the past couple months, so it's going to be a pleasure to watch. Matt, what do you think?
Yeah, man, I was really excited to talk to him. He's definitely one of NYPD's best players they've had over the last few years. The guy played pro. If PD is gonna win this game, Dan's got to have a big showing. So good luck to him. He's done a great job in years past. He's definitely one of their leaders on that team, and good luck to him this weekend.
Yep, absolutely.
Yes, let's slide on over and listen to what John Perretta had to say from FDNY.
Ladies and gentlemen, with us tonight, we got a special guest. We have, soon to be competing in his 4th rivalry game this weekend, former Wagner College athlete, board member for the Ray Pfeiffer Foundation, loved by FDNY, hated by NYPD, knockout specialist, owner of a sick mustache, defenseman number 77, the bad boy from FDNY, Dragon Slayer, John Perretta. How you doing, John? Glad you're here with us.
Good. Thanks for having me, boys. I appreciate it.
Yeah, absolutely, buddy. We're excited to have you on here.
What an intro.
Try to make it good. Try to make it good. All right, man. So we'll just jump right into it. You know, you got this big game coming up this weekend. How you feeling about it?
Feeling good. Boys have been playing a lot of hockey. We're definitely ready for it. We're all super excited.
That's awesome. Yeah, man. I believe it. You guys are getting after it. I mean, you guys are on a hell of a run, right? You're 6-0-1, and that tie, we won't even get into that tie, man. That was something else. But you know, going into this, like how you feeling about keeping that streak going?
We feel good. We're ready. Like I said, it's like super long season. We've been preparing since September. Tryouts are, so it's finally here, the big weekend, and we're all super pumped for it.
Heck yeah, had some tryouts. You getting any new guys we're expecting to see?
Yeah, we got some new players. New defenseman. He's in my firehouse, actually, John O'Brien. He's a good player. So another defenseman, Sean Leonard. We're really excited to have these guys along.
That's awesome, man. Sounds like it's going to be a good game.
Yes, for sure.
I guess
So-
what's the difference
Yeah, go ahead.
between what's different about this team this year? You said you got a couple new guys. Other than that, what's different this year than what you had going on last year?
Yeah, so probably in my time on the team, it hasn't really been super long, but we probably had the biggest turnaround in the past, I'd say 5-6 years. So we had, I think, 4 or 5 older veteran guys leave. So that'll kind of give a chance to the new guys to kind of step up and play their game, get a little more playing time, and we're excited to see it.
That's awesome, man. Like you said, you guys are on a 6-0-1 stretch right now. That's pretty significant, especially hard to do in this type of atmosphere. You know, is it a little intimidating kind of going into this game thinking, you know, the odds are kind of, you know, eventually this whole thing's going to kind of turn around. I mean, we can't do this forever. Is there that kind of pressure on you guys to keep this streak going?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, every year it's kind of like the nerves start to kick in a few days beforehand. And just like you said, you know, the odds are kind of like moving out of our favor, right? You can't win every game you play. So, you know, we kind of just try to go into every game the same way, prepare the same. And, you know, like I said, we're all pumped for it, and we're going to try to keep the winning streak alive.
What do you got to do to keep that winning streak alive? What are some big points, you know, you guys as a team been stressing about, like, you know, hitting those key points to keep that streak going?
Yeah, so I think it's kind of the first 10 minutes are pretty big for us. The Cops always come out super hard. They're trying to lay the body really early on. So I think we got to just move pucks fast, get pucks in, and kind of get to work early on in the game.
Yeah, for sure, man. I mean, we got to talk to Dan from PD, and they were talking about it. So is there anyone on PD that you guys are like really got your eye on, you know, some heavy hitters, the scorers, you know, the guys coming out looking for it? So anyone specifically?
Yeah, I mean, you said it right. Obviously, OD is a great player. He's a stud. I think they have a new defenseman this year that's pretty nasty as well. I'm sure you guys have heard. OD probably mentioned it. Santino Ragone, he's a forward as well. He's very good. So they have a lot of weapons as well. So we kind of just got to keep them at bay and play our game. I think we definitely have the upper hand in terms of depth. So I think as the game goes on, that always kind of plays a factor. So we got to just play our game and then, keep all 4 lines rolling. I think that really benefits us.
So this is actually my probably 7th game coming up. I've been coming up to the game ever since 2017, just working with the team, just getting to know some of these guys. I've always been a supporter of it. And it always, especially with you guys during this streak, the script is almost pretty similar year in and year out. You guys get off to a really, really good hot start, and so do they. They start pretty well also, but for some reason, kind of the luck seems to go into your favor, and you guys are able to take advantage of either some PD mistakes or, you know, those bounces that every team needs to kind of get through. What do you have to do to keep that momentum going throughout the game? And because like in years past, you guys will get out to a significant lead, but here they come, back just like last year. You guys get out to a 4-0 lead, and by the end of the game, you guys win 6-5. So that, they were coming hard in the last period of last year's game. How do you keep that momentum, and how do you keep your confidence high on the bench?
Yeah, I think it's just such a, it's such a big game for us. Obviously, it's our game 7 every year. And we come out super hard, like you said, and we got to just keep the foot on the pedal. It's easy to kind of start coasting when you're up, and I think we got to just be better about that and make sure we're playing 3 full periods. We kind of, the last 2 years have not been, the second half of the game has not been good for us. So I think that's one thing we're really focused on and trying to be better this year.
Well, I think you wear the momentum right on your face with that solid stats right there.
Look who's talking. I love it.
No.
Yeah, I mean, dude, I don't know, man. Tank's got a good stats. I mean, we pointed out that's kind of like when we think of Tank, that's what we think of. But man, I don't know. That stash on yours, it's rolling, man.
Yeah. It's I like it. I enjoy it. I think my first game, I grew it out. And it was more so kind of a joke just to get the boys, going. And I think it's past that point, right? Because after the game 2 or 3, I kind of just kept it, and it's been going ever since. So I try to get the boys along with me. So I think we got, maybe 5 or 6 guys this year to do it.
Heck yeah, it's a staple.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, you got to start growing that thing out. Get the wings going,
Yeah, I'm trying. It's tough. I got the hipster stash going.
Tank, give him some advice, brother. What do you got for him?
You got some product for me or what?
No, dude, I just wake up in the morning and I look like this, It's,
yeah.
Oh no, you got.
It's easy for you.
I started there too. Don't worry.
There.
Yeah, you had a very viral scrap with my buddy Jimmy Hall a couple years ago. How did that come about? I remember watching that game live, and yeah, he is a buddy of mine. I'm not gonna lie, and I was just like, "Ooh, buddy." So how did that happen? And just because the game was kind of out of hand, I guess at that point, right?
Yeah, the game was kind of over at that point. So my first year, the game was at MSG, and I fought that year at the end. And then, so I guess from that point on, it was, obviously my whole life, it's kind of been in my game a little bit. So after that first fight, I got my feet under me, didn't fight the second year. The third year comes along. It's obviously a chippy game. We're going at it all game. And there was a fight a few seconds before that. So if we line up, I'm out there with probably, 40, 50 seconds left. And someone on the PD team, Dermody, one of their centers who I fought the first year, he's lining up and he asked me 4 times throughout the game. And I'm trying to, I was trying to be good, play some hockey. And then that last face-off, I'm like, hey, do you want one? You've been asking. And he's like, oh, I'm already going with someone. So he went with Thomas Esposito. So they fought. And then obviously I'm fired up, right? So I'm like, all right, who else wants to go? So I kind of go by their bench. And there's one guy on their team that that I want to fight. He didn't oblige. So I kind of asked pretty much the rest of their team who wanted one. And I was lucky enough that someone said yes. Obviously, credit to Jimmy Hall for stepping up. So it was nice. Obviously, we both were willing, and it was nice to kind of end the game on that note, for me at least.
I mean, that had to have been the Celly of the year, skating away from that one, grabbing the jersey and jumping into the box. I mean, they showed you guys up on the video board and you guys were flipping out in the box.
Yeah. It's obviously your emotions kind of take control there. I didn't really even realize at that point he was kind of down for an extended period of time. I kind of, regretted that at the end, but your emotions kind of take over, and I was fired up, family and friends are there, packed out rink. So, shit happens, I guess.
Yeah,
Yeah,
big shout out to my buddy Jimmy Hall. You know,
Great guy.
it's definitely, oh, absolutely great guy and tough customer in itself. He's dropped the gloves many times. He's got a little bit of age on you though,
Yeah,
so
exactly,
that might have
exactly.
helped. But big
I mean,
shout. Anytime,
Sorry,
yeah,
sorry. Continue.
anytime you drop the gloves in front of 17,000 people, you know, hats off to you. So Jimmy, if you're listening, mad respect, buddy.
Yes, of course, of course.
it's so funny. I feel like any non-hockey listener is probably like, wait, they plan the fights in the middle of the game? Like, yeah, you have no idea. They just say, hey, who wants to go? Let's go. Like, they're probably like, oh, it's probably like heat of the moment, drop the gloves, let's go. No, man, it's all the planning and stuff. That's
Yeah,
pretty fun.
like I said, we came together a few times, me and Dermody, and it just wasn't the right time for us. We were kind of up a few goals, so you know, tried to be a little smart, waited, and yeah, luckily it worked out.
Yeah, earlier I watched that old interview with you, Dermody, and Biz. I remember watching it when it first came out a couple years ago, and I was just like, and because we were talking to you tonight, I was like, let me go down memory lane a little bit. How was that? And man, that I could tell you that was definitely seemed intense on one side. You seemed like you were having a lot more fun in that interview.
Yeah, it was it was tough, you know, and I still am, you know, a relatively young guy on the fire department, not a ton of experience. So I was definitely nervous going in. You know, you kind of settle in a few 10, 20 minutes into it. But yeah, some verbal judo happening, and I think, you know, just do my best to make the boys laugh who are listening. So
Yeah,
You were kind of talking how it's you get chippy with each other and how you guys still run calls with one another. You know, do you leave all that on the ice, or you know, you see these guys on the street sometimes, and you know, does it kind of take you back? And how does that all work with you?
yeah, I'd say we definitely leave it on the ice. 60 minutes once a year. That's kind of all it really is. You know, we try to, obviously we're cordial and, you know, we work hand in hand most of the time. So we're good pretty much every other day of the year. But I'd say it's just like, it's not, you know, it's funny after that fight, you know, how many, you know, old time firefighters and stuff you run into, and they're like, you know, great job, man. Like F those guys. But it's, you know, it's all, you know, it's like I said, the sibling rivalry. And, you know, at the end of the day, we work together and we respect each other.
Yeah, absolutely, man. That's awesome. But you know, like a little bit about you, like where did you start with hockey? How'd you get into it? Who got you into it? Like what's that kind of story growing up?
So I grew up on Staten Island. I have two older brothers, and they played. There's quite an age difference. So my oldest brother's 10 years older, and the middle one's 7 years older. So they were well into it before I was born, and I was a shoe-in when I was born. So I kind of got on the ice pretty early. I think 4 or 5 years old. Yeah, and from that point on, like my dad was a roller hockey player in Brooklyn back in the day, and I think that kind of just paved the way for us. You know, got us into the game, and from the jump, we all kind of bonded over the fact that we all played together and stuff like that.
I'm sure you got beat up on pretty good by your brothers being older than you and stuff. I'm sure.
Yeah, exactly. I have them to thank for sure that that I'm able to defend myself the way I am these days. But yeah, I owe it to them.
What's it like for them to watch you in this game, especially when you're dropping the gloves in front of 17,000?
Yeah, I think it's, you know, it's so, you know, I'm truly grateful for the fire department and stuff like that. I grew up going to the games with my dad. My dad was a firefighter. He's retired now. So grew up going to the old games at Nassau Coliseum, and it kind of just, you know, something I always, you know, dreamed of doing. I'm super grateful, you know, it panned out. So I'd say it's, you know, definitely means a lot. You know, we have a big group coming Saturday. You know, they show up super early, tailgate. I think it's just a great day for the family where, you know, they come to the games throughout the year, but obviously this one's the big one. So they're all super pumped to watch the boys play. And it really means a lot to me to be able to play in front of them still to this day.
That's pretty cool, man. So you did mention too, your dad was a firefighter. So is, the fire service something you kind of wanted to go into as well, even besides hockey?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, let's call a spade a spade. I didn't have the playing career that OD had, right? So I think around I went to prep school for a year. I think around that time I'm kind of like, all right, I don't think this is working out for me. It'd be great to play in the NHL, but let's be realistic here. So I wanted to be a firefighter since I was super young, so that was the next best thing. So started studying a bit for the test, and luckily in college I was able to take it and do well on it.
That's awesome, man. I mean, you're with one of the most known, most respected, departments in the world, I'd say. So I mean, that's pretty cool that one, you get to continue to do your dream of playing hockey and stuff, but also, getting that other dream of fire department. I know that's, something that is really cool to have, both worlds. But what's it like balancing, both of those? Because I mean, FDNY hockey and FDNY fire, like two big jobs that you got to maintain. So like, what's the balance like that for you?
Yeah, so like I think it's balance is super tough, obviously in the dog days of the season, right? The last few weeks have been pretty busy, like leading up to the game. But I think it's something we're all bond over. Like we just mentioned, my dad was on, my cousin, my uncle, so it was always something that was ingrained in me, and I think a lot of the guys on the team feel the same way. So it's something that we all really love doing, and we kind of go out there and play for each other. In terms of the balance, it's a lot of maneuvering the schedule. Luckily, it's pretty flexible. We're able to switch pretty easily. But the past few weeks, it's been a lot of, firehouse practice, back to the firehouse. So, it gets kind of tiring, but it's something that we all love doing. And, it's hopefully it's all going to pay off again Saturday. So.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Man.
Definitely looking forward to that.
Yeah, the boys are excited.
Yeah. So you're on the board for the Ray Pfeiffer Foundation, and I guess that's a huge foundation that the FDNY is into. Are you able to touch a little bit about kind of what that's all about?
Yeah. So I was lucky enough to two former players on the team. They're both retired from the job, Rob Serra and Frank Heel. They were involved in the Ray Pfeiffer Foundation before I was, obviously. And I think it was around like maybe year 2 on the team. I kind of approached Rob and Frank. I'm like, hey, I'd love to get involved. It seemed like they did a bunch of good work and they raised a ton of money for, a good cause. So I was lucky enough to get involved. So Ray Pfeiffer was a firefighter that passed away of World Trade Center related illness. So that's kind of what they base it off of, obviously. So what insurance companies won't cover, sometimes it's towards the end, or kind of when they're just getting sick. Sometimes insurance companies won't cover everything. So that's where the Ray Pfeiffer Foundation steps in, and through the money they raise, they're able to assist the families and kind of, make it a smoother process than, if they didn't have that aid and help. So that's where we kind of come in.
That's awesome, man. That's really cool. Really cool. So a few days ago, Staten Island, Islanders versus Capitals. You know what I'm talking about. What was it like, being around that area and everything like that? And you said you grew up on Staten Island and everything like that. So what was that like? I mean, I can't imagine you're a Capitals fan, but still, I mean, history's history. So what you thinking about that?
Yeah, I mean, that was electric, right? I think not many people, I mean, around the past few years get up for Islanders regular season games, right? They've kind of been not very good for quite a bit here. So yeah, it was just awesome to see. And I think, a really cool part of that was, we switch locker rooms every year at UBS. Obviously we play at the Islanders home rink. So we have a ton of pictures in that locker room, pregame and postgame after our victory, and just seeing, Ovechkin with the boys kind of in that same locker room. Like, it was just, a cool little snippet, and, it just goes to show you how awesome like how great it is that we get to experience kind of, just another snippet of what makes this game so awesome, right? So getting dressed in the same locker room as a guy like that is kind of unreal, but didn't think I'd be in that situation. But it's definitely a cool experience.
Is there
Definitely
any?
something to
Is
probably
there
be
any?
in the back of your head?
Yeah. Is there any sense of I don't know, nostalgia or excitement to know that the all-time goal scoring record was done a week prior to your game in the same arena?
Yeah, I mean that's awesome. It's just another, like I said, another like awesome aspect of this game, right? That we're just a bunch of first responders. Never thought we'd have that in common with one of the best hockey players that's ever played in the NHL or in the world even. So it's definitely cool. Hopefully we have that locker room this year. We'll take some pictures in the same spot he did.
Heck yeah, dude. Heck yeah. So we saw that earlier this week, New York Ranger Will Coyle was at your firehouse. So what was going on there? Like, how did that go down? What was he doing there? When we saw that, we were kind of like, "Whoa, what's going on?" So
Yeah. So last year we kind of got the Rangers contacted us and the cops to kind of do. They had their outdoor game at MetLife in Jersey versus the Islanders actually. And the NHL teams kind of do fun stuff, do different stuff on the walk-ins for those outdoor games. So they kind of contacted us. They wanted a few fire trucks there, a few rigs there, and a few of us to kind of walk in with the Rangers. Like such a cool experience. Something we were all super pumped about, obviously. So that day I walked in with Cooley. We kind of did a little jersey swap. He wore mine. Like a lot, some guys wore the cop jerseys, so some guys wore the fire jerseys. So I was lucky enough that Will wore mine. We kind of shot the shit that day, and then I was lucky enough to keep in contact with him over the past year or two. Just hit him up here and there, and stayed in contact. And he actually had his uncle is a firefighter up in Toronto where he's from. So it was kind of something that he, you could tell he was kind of into as well. So a few months ago, he shot me a text and he wanted to do something, something really cool for the FD hockey team. He used some of his Bauer connections to get us, the whole team, new pairs of gloves. So he got us all gloves earlier this year, and it was just like such a cool thing to do. We're super grateful, and he's such a good guy. So I finally got him out. Like one day we were texting, I'm like, dude, you got to come. Like we have a good crew working in the firehouse tonight. Come by if you're not doing anything. They were off, obviously. And to our surprise, he showed up. Spent some time with the boys. We did some drills with him, forced a few doors, and it seemed like he enjoyed himself. So it all worked out pretty well.
that's freaking awesome, dude.
Yeah,
He was looking good. He was looking good in the fire gear, I'll say.
Yeah, he's a big boy, so I'm just glad my stuff fit him. But it was awesome. It was a great experience.
Yeah,
awesome.
man, that sounds insane. But so this game, it's a couple days away. Thinking about these past couple games, what's been your favorite moment in like this game specifically?
I think it's so hard to choose from, right? Every game is just super memorable. We've been lucky that we've came out on top. Obviously, there's nothing better than being in the locker room with the boys afterwards. Excuse me. I'd say my first game was super special. It was at MSG in the city instead of UBS on Long Island. So I mean, being a New York kid, that's the mecca of arenas all across the world, right? So that was a great experience. The second year, we won in overtime, and I was on the ice for it. Vinny Lopes, got a pass from, I think it was Matty Zay, and sniped one in overtime. So I think that was just kind of electric the way that game ended. And every goal you're on the ice for, every goal you're on the bench for, it's just the boys are just filled with joy. Obviously, we're jumping around. It's just a culmination of all our sacrifice throughout the year. So I think for a long-winded answer. I think I'd say I have a bunch of great memories. So yeah, it's just hopefully we'll make some more Saturday. I could give you a better answer.
So I asked Dan the same question. So what are some of the differences in the coaching styles of Pete and Tom?
So they're obviously retired firefighters, great guys, put their time in. I think they're both in true firefighter fashion. They're both pretty, hard nosed and stubborn in a sense. So it's kind of like, there's times where, they're hanging out with the boys, and then as soon as we get on the ice, they kind of turn it on real quick. So I think they have a pretty tough coaching style. And you gotta earn, whatever ice time you get, right? So we play a long season. They expect you to show up to things. We skate the last 3 months. We've skated twice a week with games on the weekends for the most part. So it's like, you're not gonna not show up all year and then show up a month before the game and expect to play. So I think they run a pretty tight ship in that aspect.
Where can we see this game coming up, and why should people tune in and watch?
Yeah, so I think so the Long Island Sports Network is doing it. So there'll be a live stream on YouTube, which is pretty cool and super accessible. So I'll get the link out there for you guys. And why should they watch? I mean, I think it's for a great cause at the end of the day. No matter what happens on the ice, we're both raising a ton of money for the foundations that we support. Every year, we have a bunch of families in our locker room, and kind of, whether it be families of firefighters lost in the line of duty, or people that, whether it be EMS, fire, or a retired guy that sadly passed, we present the families with checks before the game. I think last year we had 3 or 4 checks for, 5,000-10,000. So I think that's just, at the end of the day, that's what it's about. We're raising money for a great cause. And if whatever we do that could get more eyes on us and raise more money for the families in need, I think that's what, the most important thing is.
All right. So what's
real quick.
Oh, okay, Tank.
Yeah. What's the easy way someone can help the cause?
So leading up to the game, we sell a bunch of raffle tickets. We do a journal book of all businesses, big and small, where they donate and kind of put their business on in a booklet that we hand out at the game at the front door. Everyone gets one, so it's kind of helps both the small businesses get kind of exposure, get eyes on them, and at the end of the day, the money that they pay for those journal ads go to those families. The same thing with the raffle tickets, and pretty much everything we do, whether it be the online store or different fundraising games. For the most part, the money's all going to a great cause, and yeah. So I'd say hit up our store, and we have different things throughout the year that you could kind of donate to. But we should probably get a link up there that you could just donate. But the Ray Pfeiffer Foundation, you could kind of go to their websites and get some more information there.
Cool, for sure.
So what's your prediction for the game this year? PD, they're not going to go down quietly. So what's going to be the
what was OD's
final
prediction?
What was his prediction? He was hoping he was going to score 5 goals and win it. That's what he said.
I'd like to. What was that, bud? I'm sorry.
But he said he would take 0 goals and take the win.
Prediction for the game, I'd say hopefully we could come out and get a hot start like we usually do, but like I said before, kind of keep our foot on the gas. So I'd go 7-3. I'll take. Ooh. We cover the spread, and we kind of go home happy, right?
Oh, that
sounds like a good score to me, man.
That's a boring game. I want to see another 6-5, 6-5 one. I don't want to know what happens.
All right, man. I gotta ask personally, a little off the wall. We know FD stands for fire department. You run any good jobs lately?
So there was one 2 or 3 weeks ago. My house was first due, so I was not working sadly. But a few weeks before that, I caught a good one, and like I said, the recent one was pretty nice. The other guy that I mentioned before, John O'Brien, the new defenseman on our team, who's also at my firehouse, he was working for it, and it was his first his first big job. So the boys are all pumped for him, and it was it went out and no one got hurt. I think that's all that matters.
That's all that matters, man.
You got
That's
any?
right.
You got any words for OD?
No, I don't think so. We talk kind of often, especially as the games coming in. He's a good guy, but I hope he goes home sad that day. I think I got a text from a cop today. I think he sent me some stupid gif like on text message, and he's making fun of my haircut because I do the stupid mullet every year. So I told him he gets his hair cut in a fire truck at Supercut. So I think that kind of put him at bay a little bit. So I'll see him on Saturday, see if he has any choice words for me.
Love it, dude. Love to hear it, man. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Tank, man, you got any other questions for him, man?
Nah, dude, just keep rocking that stash because it's looking good.
Thanks, buddy. You too.
Hey, make sure you comment on the tag that's still hanging on Tank's head.
Dude,
What's going on with that?
Tag
brother,
swag, dude.
it's tag swag. That's the greatest hockey players I've ever heard of it. Obviously, I'm the only one rocking it. So whenever you want to go one-on-one, you let me know.
Oh no, dude. We're gonna have to set this up, dude. Oh my gosh, we're gonna have to set this up.
We'll set this up at Stark.
Awesome. All right, man. So we only got one more question for you. Last year we saw probably one of the nastiest Cellys in hockey history. The force the door.
Disgusting.
So I mean, I'm assuming you guys might have something up your sleeve this year.
Yeah, I think the boys always kind of mess around, throw around some options. Yeah, that was Sean Gargan. He's in ladder 169 in Brighton Beach. And Joey Gahul, in Engine Company 216 on Union Avenue. So I think we were kind of messing around a few practices before. And it was obviously great to see it happen in person. It was fucking electric, man. So I think, everyone loved that. So hopefully you'll see a good one on Saturday. I've been cooking up something. So hopefully I'll get to use it. We'll see. I haven't been able to the past few years. So
hopefully, man. But I mean, besides the special ones you hold for this game, you see the name of the episode, you see the name of the whole thing. So what is your go-to Big Celly?
See, this is a tough one. You guys know I don't really score goals like that, right? So I'd say I have some things up my sleeve. Hopefully you get to see him Saturday, but you can't go wrong with operating the hose line down the ice. So Chris Princiata did that a few years ago, way back in the day. And it was, got the crowd going. It was pretty electric. So maybe I'll bring that one back. The boys were shooting around some options. You'll see some good stuff on Saturday, hopefully.
We're all looking forward to it, man. All looking forward to it for sure. But, John, we really appreciate you sitting down with us and talking to us. It means a lot to us. And we look forward to this game every year. And, we're excited to see the turnout this year, man. So,
yeah, thanks so much for having me. What you guys do for us is awesome. The jerseys last year came out sick. So, look forward to keep working with you guys. And I appreciate having me on. Love that jersey, too. Legend.
Thanks, man. It means a lot to hear the comments from you guys and PD about the jerseys. It means a lot to me too to get to have the chance to work with you guys. I consider it an honor. And when I was up there last year, watching you guys out there, you guys, both teams played amazing by the end of it. And you guys just looked so good. There was so much pride, especially walking around the arena, seeing people wearing the jerseys. And then, I even watched the game going home on the train on Barstool. So
nice.
I couldn't get enough of it. And you know what, man? I hope I can continue to work with you guys for years. The partnership means a lot to me, so I'll do whatever I can on my end.
Yeah, so awesome. You guys coming this year or what?
I'll be up. Right? Me and Alex will be up there. Unfortunately, Tank has some sort of wedding anniversary or something.
Oof! Happy wife, happy life.
He's grounded. His mom wouldn't let him do it.
Yeah.
Nice. So I look forward to meeting you guys in person. Hopefully, you see a lot of goals, a lot of fights on Saturday. It should be electric.
Yeah, man. We'll meet you on the ice, buddy.
Hell yeah! Nice to meet you guys, and thanks for having me.
This episode is brought to you by Engine Hockey. All right, yo. So that was John Perretta, everybody with FDNY. Super cool dude to talk with. He, man, the dude seems fired up for this game on Saturday. It's gonna be really cool to watch him. Super good dude, likes to joke around. It was really cool getting to talk to him. So, Tank, what did you think?
His mustache is solid. It looks good. Hopefully, it looks as good as when he comes. And I can't believe I challenged him to that 1v1, but it is what it is. And I'll just have to tighten my laces up a little bit tighter. But hey, look, honestly, I played a couple games of hockey. I think I got a chance.
Show him the guns. Show him the guns there, Tank.
I don't want to give a preview. I'll show it to him on the ice.
All right, sounds good, man. Matt, what did you think of John's interview?
John's exactly what I expected for sure. Haven't really got a chance to talk to him after watching him play the last couple of years. We've been chatting a little bit on IG. But yeah, man, John Perretta, probably one of the most popular guys on FDNY. Funny, real down to earth, humble. But when he laces them up, and you can see from the footage, the man handles business. I don't think I would last too long against him, that's for sure. But
yeah, and Tank's over here calling him out on a 1v1, telling him he's going to take a spot on the team.
I hope he does. I want to see it. I want to see it. So let's go.
Y'all get ready to stay tuned, because we're going to get a video of Tank versus John in a 1v1, and it's going to be a good one to watch. So
might be next year. We definitely got to get them together, mic'd up.
Oh, 100%. But I'll tell you what, man, this is it's looking. Go ahead.
Tryouts. I'm coming up to tryouts on September.
You're going up to tryouts for them. We'll have to see, man. But
well,
hey, I'll tell you what, man.
We're taking the train to Coney Island. Then that's where the tryouts are. So we're going.
Let's go.
Let's do it. So, hey guys, it's we're a few short days away. This episode is getting released on Thursday, so we're gonna be 2 short days away from watching this game. I don't know about you guys. I imagine you have the same feeling as me. I'm fired up talking to these two guys, getting perspectives from both sides of the team. I'm ready for it, man. It's gonna be a really solid, hard fight for the win. I think both teams, honestly, talking to both of them, PD's got a lot of confidence. FD's riding high with their win streak. So I think it's going to be a really solid game. Both, especially with PD, they said they're coming in with a whole lot of confidence this year. FD, they said they just got to do what they keep doing and try to bring out that 7th win. But I'm really excited to go up there with Matt and get to experience it in person. It's going to be a really solid game, fun game to watch. Tank, you won't be there in person, but you're going to be tuning in down here. So what are you most excited for?
I'll be there in spirit, and I'm hoping everyone has a good time. But ultimately, yeah, I got the FD coming out on top yet again.
Got the over under. Like to see it.
Matt, my prediction. Let me see. Love my boys on the FD side, but streak's got to end eventually, and my boys on the PD, I think they bring home a very hard, scrappy, and in the last minute, 5-4 win.
You think so? That's a good prediction.
I don't know if I'm predicting it or if I'm hoping for it, and I'm probably gonna get some smack on the FD boys when they read this. Hey, look, guys, you can't win every year, all right? Sue me. Sue me, all right? Please keep using me for jerseys, but
hockey.
Someone's got to win, all right? Someone else has got to win. Got to keep you guys humble a little bit, all right?
They even said both guys said, man, John and Dan. They said, either or, whoever wins, it's you're going to leave sad that night, win or lose or whatever, but. They know the real cause for it. That's why they put this game on. So, honestly, in my opinion, there's obviously a winner and a loser, but at the end of the day, there's no real loser just because they're really doing this for a good cause. They both talked about a little bit what they're doing it for. So it's going to be a great game. Try to tune in if you can. Like we said, we're going to put a link in Big Celly's bio so you can tune into it. But it's going to be a solid game, and if you've never watched it before, you're in for a treat, man. Especially getting to experience it at this level, because the past couple years have been a very solid, good watch game. So, yeah, like I said, you got to tune in if you haven't before, especially if you're FD or PD. It's I think it's a pride thing. Even if you're outside of FDNY, it's something that hockey's became very big in the fire department and police department, and it's hockey brings people together. It's solid. It's a good game to watch. It's a good game to play. If you work for a department that has one, get on the team, man. If you got a police department that has one, get on the team. It's always a good group of guys, and no matter what, you always leave it on the ice, and you build that brotherhood again over a game of hockey. Me and Klein, Tank, and Matt all play on the same team together, and that's how we got so close. And I'll tell you, it's a pleasure every time getting on the ice with them. It's an awesome experience. We look forward to it every year, every game. And look where it ended up. Look where it ended us up at, doing a podcast together because of how much we love the game and how much the game's given to us. So, yeah, that's all I really have to say. Matt, you got anything else?
That took me away, brother. I mean, yeah, man. Going down to Florida with you guys was such a blast. I hope one day I can get back on the ice. I hope this injury can kind of settle itself. But in case I don't, playing with you guys was such a blast. Winning a championship with you, Alex, was a great time. I wish we could have won one with Tank there. But yeah, man, mad respect. Really appreciate you guys. So
yeah, we'll chase another one next year. Even if you're not on the ice, we'll get to celebrate with you on the bench. So, Tank, what you got to say, buddy? Wrapping it up.
I love you guys. I'm glad we are where we are right now. So, looking forward.
Oh shoot! Hold on, Tank. It's almost 9 o'clock, dude. Your mom's said bedtime's 9 o'clock. So we got to wrap it up here, folks. It's been a pleasure talking to you guys. We want to have Tank on the next episode, and if he's grounded because he wasn't in bed in time, where it's not going to be as much fun. So, thank you guys so much for tuning in to Big Celly's first podcast. Had a blast. Thank you so much, John and Dan. Look forward to Saturday.